What's going on, guys? It is another Monday night. I am the Solomonster. This is your Monday Night Raw review. Tonight, Raw was a taped show from Saudi Arabia for the first time ever. They had a louder crowd than a lot of crowds you would find here in the U.S. So they were a very energetic crowd, which is always nice to see. Coming off, of course, Crown Jewel this past Saturday, they stayed over in Riyadh to tape the show. Makes travel a little bit easier. I'm not honestly sure why they haven't done this before. So I think it's something that they will do in the future when they return to Saudi. But they tried to set up a few matches here on the show with World Championship implications for both the men and the women. On the men's side, we had a fatal four-way match tonight to crown a new #1 contender for Gunther's World Heavyweight Championship. Damian Priest, Seth Rollins, Sheamus, and Dominik Mysterio, who beat Damian last week just to prove that he can be in the conversation for a shot at the world title. It did not work out for Dirty Dom. Would have been fun to watch him get his ass handed to him, but it will be Damian Priest. To the surprise of no one, Damian Priest, Seth Rollins, right? I mean, would anybody have been surprised to see Seth Rollins win? It had to be one of those two. Damian Priest is going to get his shot at the world title. When? We don't know, because Michael Cole said that it will be somewhere down the road. So they're not saying. But he is next in line now for the World Heavyweight Championship. We have Io Sky, #1 contender for the Women's World Championship. They decided that via a battle royal. Also, no indication of when the match will take place. It will take place sometime in the future. Could be television, could be Survivor Series, we don't know, but we have #1 contenders now. With Rhea Ripley being out for who knows how long, they had to crown a new #1 contender. And I hope Rhea is not going to be gone for too long, but at the very least, they're going to have Liv run through one person, if not more than one person, if they want to keep that belt on her until Rhea comes back. So Io is going to be first up. Sami Zayn. We saw what happened with him in the Bloodline on Saturday at Crown Jewel. Did not work out well. So we had a little Bloodline meeting, of course, with the most important member of the Bloodline missing. But we had Sami Zayn and the Usos in the ring tonight to try to hash out their drama. Honestly, nothing happened. Nothing happened other than to set up the next meeting. The next family meeting is going to be taking place Friday on SmackDown. That was the purpose of the segment on Raw tonight. We want you to tune into SmackDown on Friday. And Chad Gable and Dragon Lee, there may not have been any championships on the line, but these two guys went out there tonight and they had a banger of a match. As taped shows go, not bad. Not great, but not bad. So let's talk about it. Again, this is your Monday Night Raw review here for November 4th, 2024, the calm before the storm. I am the Solomonster. Thank you guys for starting your week off with me. And for those of you who may have missed it on the main podcast, I am celebrating 17 years of the Sound Off all month long here in the month of November. And technically this week is the 17-year anniversary. So we were talking about that on the podcast, and obviously the original Sound Off, the audio show, is what goes back 17 years, not these streams. But 17 years of coming on here and talking pro wrestling is pretty crazy. So for those of you tuned in right now who have been with me since day one, I want to say thank you. For those of you who may be new to the channel here, or only know of the Sound Off from YouTube, that's okay. I want to say thank you to you as well. But it's pretty amazing. Here we are after 17 years, and here's to an even bigger and better year than the one we had last year. Hit that subscribe button, like the video as well if we can hit our goal. You know what the goal is, I don't have to tell you. We will do our Be the Booker segment a little bit later on. And Super Chats are open. There's one. Shut the fuck up. That didn't take long. Fuck that tree. Sidro. Had to get that tree in there, huh? Sidro, thank you very much. I should mention there is also a brand new $27 Super Chat that you guys broke in late last week with Solo Sokoa, so that is up there as well. For those of you who would like to partake. And I mentioned Crown Jewel before, just in case anybody missed it, because I was not live on Saturday, but it was part of the podcast this weekend, episode 886. You can check out the Crown Jewel review. It is now up on the YouTube channel. Going through all the matches on the show from Saturday. So if you missed it, be sure to go back and check that out.
It's the amazing Gunther.
Oh, we're joined by a good friend of ours.
Loves Gunther, the magnificent. All hail Gunther.
All hail. Yes, always good to see Gunther joining us here on the streams. That is Bobby's World. Bobby's World with the $50 Gunther bomb. Bobby, I hope you're having a good Monday. Thank you very much. I'm going to be reading your message here in a little bit, so don't go nowhere. Start out here because Joe Tessitore, the voice of Raw, not the voice of Raw tonight. He did not make the trip to Saudi Arabia, so we had Michael Cole and we had Corey Graves back together on commentary. We open with Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, and Dominik Mysterio out to the ring. Liv did not have her Crown Jewel Championship that she just won this weekend. That belt that was so big that I'm shocked she didn't tip over when she was holding it up. The belt is locked away now in a vault in Riyadh. We're not going to see it again for another year. But she did have her Crown Jewel ring on her finger. Her and Cody each got rings that they can wear wherever they go. So she had the ring on. She said the Liv Morgan Revenge Tour is officially over, and now begins the Liv Morgan World Tour. She gloated about taking out Rhea Ripley for the third time. She said that she made sure Rhea will be gone for a very long time, and she mentioned that she beat Tiffany Stratton on SmackDown last week. She went to Crown Jewel, and now she is the first ever Women's Crown Jewel champion. Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill, the women's tag team champions, they came out to interrupt the festivities here. Bianca said that they haven't forgotten about their confrontation from last week. Jade said if they want a piece of the champions, this was their chance. And Liv questioned why they were so angry after successfully defending their titles on Saturday. She asked if it's because Bianca thinks that she's the best. And then she said that Jade thinks that she's the best. And Liv said that Jade and Bianca pretend to get along, whereas she and Raquel, they have a real friendship. Bianca recognized what Liv was trying to do, invited them to have a tag team title match right now. Here comes Adam Pearce. Last time we saw Adam Pearce, he was laid out with an RKO on Saturday. He comes marching out to the ring. He's telling everybody to calm down. Liv continued to poke the bear until Bianca finally smacked the shit out of her and knocked her down. Pearce said that what Liv and Raquel did to Rhea was disgusting. And if they think that they're going to get out of here without having to defend the championship against anybody now that Rhea's out of the picture, they're sorely mistaken. And he announced that they were going to decide a number one contender for Liv's title via a battle royal. And he also said that Bianca and Jade would be in the battle royal, and that battle royal was next. And so that led into the opening match on the show tonight. Liv Morgan planting the seeds here in this segment for an eventual Jade and Bianca breakup. You know, this is the first time that they have really teased that direction on TV. I mean, we've been talking about it for a while now because that's clearly where we're headed, especially as we get closer to WrestleMania. But nothing's happened on television to, whether it's a promo segment, a weird look that Jade gives Bianca or Bianca gives Jade, miscommunications in their matches. We haven't seen any of that. There's been no tease of anything. This is the first time that we have even the tease that we may soon be getting friction between the women's tag team champions. And it makes sense because we are getting closer to WrestleMania season, and it's time. It's time to start thinking about how we're going to separate these two. When are we going to get the belts off of them? How are we going to separate these two? Because they have done all they can do. Two-time women's tag team champions in a division that barely has a pulse. It's so, at this point, it's so beneath Bianca. You know, at first, it's like Bianca was always a featured performer from the moment they called her up to the main roster. She headlined one of the nights of WrestleMania. How long was she on the main roster at that point? Maybe a year? So it's not a bad idea to kind of push her down the card a little bit, try to focus on some other women maybe who don't really have a chance to shine, and do that for a while. And then eventually you kind of bring Bianca back up into the mix. At this point, it's gone on, I think, for far too long. And I think it's hurting her more than it's helping or benefiting Jade. So we're getting very quickly to that point where we're going to have to see something happen here. Because I still think the play for WrestleMania is a singles match between these two. So we have a couple more months, and we're going to have to see something. We have the Women's Battle Royal and the participants in the Battle Royal. Damage Control, Sonya Deville, Shayna Baszler. There was no Zoe Stark. I guess she didn't make the trip. Lyra Valkyria, Zelina Vega, Natalya, Maxine Dupree, Caden Carter, Katana Chance, Ivy Nile, Alba Fire, and Isla Dawn. Those are your women in the Battle Royal. Liv and Raquel, they stayed at ringside to watch. The crowd had more fun with this than I did. I mean, this was every average WWE Battle Royal that you've seen on television, which is to say it was nothing special, it was nothing exciting. The final four were Bianca, Jade, Io, and Lyra. Basically the only four women in this match who had a prayer of actually winning and becoming number one contender. We did get a brief Bianca and Jade face-off, but it was quickly interrupted. Bianca dropped Lyra with a KOD and then sent her out over the top row. Lyra did not hit the floor, though. She held onto the rope. So as Bianca is trying to eliminate Lyra, here comes Raquel. She grabs Bianca by the braid and starts to yank hard. She's trying to yank her out of the ring. Jade sees this, grabs a hold of her partner to try to hold her inside the ring so she's not eliminated, which of course is ridiculous because it's every woman for herself. But she's trying to keep Bianca in the ring. Now here comes Liv Morgan. She reaches up, grabs Jade, and the tag team champions tumble out of the ring together at the same time. Bianca and Jade Cargill eliminated, courtesy of Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. They chased Liv and Raquel through the crowd. So it looks like we're going to get a women's tag team title match very soon. Don't be surprised if we get the title change there. You know, trying to think of, okay, well, who are they going to drop the belts to? Right? They got them away from the unholy union, so it's not going to just go back to them. Who would be the likeliest option here if you wanted to take the tag titles away from Bianca and Jade? Liv is the one who's starting to try to drive a wedge between these two women. And maybe when they actually have the match, we actually get a spot, you know, during the match where there's an accidental hit or, you know, Bianca goes for a tag and Jade isn't there. Like, we might see something in that match. I could see them putting the tag team titles on Liv and Raquel, who have held those titles before, by the way. You may as well put all the gold on Liv Morgan. Women's World Champion, Crown Jewel Champion. Now she's got a ring. They put a ring on it. Sure, give her a tag team title too. Why not? If it furthers the split between Bianca and Jade, I'm fine with it. It doesn't even matter. So it came down to Io and Lyra. They were the final two in the ring here for the Battle Royal. They ended up on the apron. Lyra lifted Io up at a fireman's carry position, but Io got out of it, hit her shote palm strike, and then took her over with a German suplex that folded Lyra up. Lyra then slowly rolled off the apron, hit the floor, and Io Sky is your number one contender. She wins the Battle Royal. And it was funny because, you know, when she took her over with the German suplex, she had a neck bridge. And so the match is over, and I would say another 10 seconds went by, and Io is still laying there with the neck bridge before she finally got vertical. I thought she was going to lay there for the rest of the show. They were just going to wrestle around her. I didn't care for the match, but Io or Lyra, they were clearly the most obvious choices to win here. I'm happy that Io is getting a shot at the Women's Championship because Io is great, and she's super over right now. The drawback, of course, is that I don't think she has a shot, realistically, at taking the championship from Liv Morgan. So what Io Sky, the purpose that she serves here in this situation is that she's going to be a body for Liv to beat while they kill time waiting for Rhea Ripley to make her return. Effectively, it feels to me like they're going to feed Io Sky to Liv Morgan. And what that does is it almost assuredly, in my opinion, in my thought, take her out of the running for a Royal Rumble win. And I had Io on my short list of potential winners in 2025. If she's going to get a shot at the Women's Championship now and then not win, it just makes it a lot less likely for her to be in the mix for Royal Rumble winner next year. That sucks. But I just don't see them taking the title off Liv until Rhea comes back. Could Rhea show up and cost Liv the championship just to fuck her over? And then when Rhea comes back, her and Liv, they have one final blow off with no title on the line? Yeah, it's possible. You can't rule it out as a possibility, but I also feel like that is the top women's angle. That is the top women's feud on SmackDown right now. And so if that's the top women's feud and that's where the focus is going to be, you don't want the championship to feel like number two. So if that's the story, if that's the key women's story on the show, if that's the story that's going to get the most time devoted to it, then it should be for the women's championship. So I wouldn't even bother taking the title off Liv until Rhea's ready to come back. I mean, unless she's going to be gone for like 6 months. Yeah, if we're talking a couple of months, you keep the title on Liv. Wait for Rhea to come back, and then she could win it back. Now, they didn't say when Io would be getting her shot, whether it would be TV or if it would be Survivor Series. I guess it really depends as far as Survivor Series goes. It really depends on whether or not there's going to be a women's War Games match. If, Liv Morgan was going to be a team captain, because I've been talking about this. You guys have heard me say Team Liv against Team Rhea is the only option that really made any sense for a women's War Games match. Because otherwise, you're just doing it for the sake of doing it. Well, now Rhea's out of the picture. I don't know for how long, but she ain't going to be at Survivor Series. So if we assume she's going to be out of Survivor Series, you just lost the potential Team Liv against Team Rhea. What good option do you have left? Realistically, for a women's War Games match, they're better off not doing it. My suggestion, and then I saw that apparently Ava is going to be making, the general manager of NXT, is going to be making a special announcement on NXT this week. Because I was thinking about this. There's no purpose in doing a women's War Games match with main roster talent that are just thrown together for no real reason. I would be okay if they wanted to do, let's say, Team Io against Team Liv, but do it in like a traditional Survivor Series elimination match. Because I would love for them to maintain the old elimination format, just one match, every year, kind of like a throwback. And that I would be okay with. But if you're going to do a women's War Games match, I'm just saying, Ava is teasing a major announcement of some kind for this week's NXT, which, by the way, is airing on Wednesday. Just keep that in mind. It's not airing on Tuesday this week. So my suggestion, I tweeted about this earlier, was I would take the women who are all lined up right now for a 10-woman tag on NXT this week at the ECW Arena. Because what a sight that was last week on the show when you had all the baby faces lined up. You had Julia, you had Stephanie Vicaire, you had Zarya, you had Jordan Grace, and then Kalani Jordan was with them. It looked like a super crew. They're going to be facing off against Roxanne Perez, Cora Jade, and the Fatal Influence on Wednesday. Why not just take those 10 women and put them in the women's War Games match? Why not give it to NXT this year? Have Ava come out on television and make the announcement, make it official that this year, the NXT women, everyone's talking about what a great women's division, the best women's division in all of wrestling. They say it every week on commentary, and I'm not even saying it's untrue. Well, then why not give them that spot? If you don't have anything better for a women's War Games match, but you want to have one for the men and one for the women, I would much rather see those women in a War Games match. And you can do it too. Even though they've already announced the 10-woman tag for TV this week, no one is saying that you have to actually give them a full match or give them a finish. You're at the ECW arena, baby. You could just have them fucking brawl and fight all over the place. The match never even has to officially start. Then you have Ava come out when the match is over, right? Trying to maintain law and order here. Have her come out and make the announcement. We are going to get this match, but you know what? We can't contain you women. Well, we're going to do that at Survivor Series, and it's going to be inside War Games. Better yet, you've already got William Regal working on NXT. He's been back the last few weeks. He's been managing Brian Pillman's kid. Just have him come out and make the announcement. I'd love to hear Regal one more time shout War Games. I mean, it's perfect. It's just so perfect. So I don't know what her announcement is going to be. That was my idea. That was my thought. I'm hoping, I'm trying to manifest it into reality here. We'll find that on Wednesday. But I would much rather see that. And if they're going to do something with Liv and EO and maybe they have their own teams, you know what? Just do a traditional Survivor Series match and just leave War Games to the Bloodline. Right? I mean, it's all about the Bloodline anyway this year. Just leave it to them. Backstage, Kathy Kelly was talking to Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods of the New Day about facing the War Raiders tonight, and Woods said that they should have won the number one contenders match last week, but Chad Gable got involved. Kofi said, you know, the Raiders, they didn't win straight up, but he didn't really think that was the issue. He didn't seem totally comfortable with the excuse that Woods gave. Woods asked him what his problem is. He said Kofi is the one who dropped the ball. He's the one who got beat, and Kofi was just amazed by this comment. All of a sudden, the segment was interrupted by a new Wyatt 6 video. First thing they did was it was very quick, but they aired old footage of The Miz with Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel. Remember the Miz Taraj? This was the Miz Taraj days. But it was a clip of Miz talking to them in the back and telling them that he would make them stars that their families would be proud of. So then they cut to a shot of Miz, who clearly he's been abducted by the Wyatt Six, and he's in a room somewhere. He's sitting to a chair, tied to a chair, wearing a mask. Bo Dallas removes the mask and removes the piece of tape from Miz's mouth. Miz said, look, I'm not with the Final Testament, and it's all just a big misunderstanding. And Bo Dallas starts laughing, and he puts the tape back over Miz's mouth again. Dallas said that they never cared about the Final Testament. They want the Miz. Says Miz is cursed and will be burdened with the pain that he has inflicted on others as he begs and pleads for mercy until he returns to the ground, for dust he is and dust he will become. So the camera backs away now from Miz. And so what you see in the background is Dexter Lumis. And of course, he's in the, what does he wear? Is it the Mercy the Buzzard? Or is it Ramblin' Rat? No, it's Mercy the Buzzard. He's in the Buzzard mask. He emerges. It's like just blackness behind Miz. He emerges from the darkness. Like really quickly, just comes kind of out of the shadows here. And he grabs Miz's head. And at that exact moment that he grabs Miz's head, they cut to black. And that's the end of the video. Now, after they cut to black, eventually they go back. It was after the commercial break. They go to the announcers. And Michael Cole is sitting there and he says that their production crew had nothing to do with the airing of that video. And he seemed totally unconcerned about The Miz. This man is a former WWE champion. He has been abducted. And nobody gives a shit. What does that tell you? What does that tell you about his standing in the company? They didn't really seem to care. On to the next. They don't give a crap. The Judgment Day is with us. We're not up to the Judgment Day yet. Temjin Zephyr, what's going on, Temjin? Thank you for the $32 super chat. Temjin, I answered your question in the shout-outs on the podcast this weekend, in case you missed it. Make sure you go check that out. Uffman says he doesn't care about The Miz either. Yeah, you know, I get the impression that a lot of people would probably say the same thing. We had the New Day against the War Raiders. Kofi was getting ready to hit Trouble in Paradise when Woods tagged himself into the match. Kofi was not happy about that. Eric then knocked out Kofi, and the Raiders gave Woods their War Machine finish, which is an elevated German suplex and springboard clothesline combo. And they picked up the win, which also, by the way, means that they got the War Machine name back for their finish. They don't call themselves War Machine, but their finish is called War Machine. At least they got rid of the Viking stuff. It's just funny to me, though, that they can call their finish that, but they couldn't just go back to their old name and call themselves that. So the Raiders we already know they're in line for a tag team title match soon, and the issues continue here between Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. I want to point out a very important date, November 28th, 2014. Okay, I want you to remember that day, November 28th. That is the day that the New Day collectively made their debut as a group on SmackDown 10 years ago. Because we know the 10-year anniversary is this month. I didn't know exactly when it was. That's the date. So what I think they're doing here is I think that, now November 28th this year is a Thursday. It's not a Monday, it's not a Friday, it's a Thursday. So nothing is going to happen on November 28th. But if there's going to be a breakup, or if there's going to be some dramatic segment, it would likely be on the Go Home Raw that week to Survivor Series, which is November 25th, or it would be on the Survivor Series show itself. So whatever's going to go down here, because it's building and building and building, whatever's going to go down here between Kofi and Woods, I think is either on the 25th or it's at Survivor Series itself. And I still feel like we're going to see Big E. How do we not get a Big E appearance? I mean, Big E is sitting there on the, I think he was on the pre-show too, but he was on the post-show panel for Crown Jewel. On Saturday, he's there. Like, he's doing stuff for them. He's visible on TV. If they're building to some big dramatic breakup angle here with the New Day, I mean, Big E, he's not dead. Like, how do you not include him? Have him come out and try to play peacemaker, try to get these two guys back on the same page, whether it works or not. I still feel like we're going to get a Big E appearance at some point. We have to. It just wouldn't make sense that he would be so unconcerned. These are his boys. They've been together for so long. And if it really looks like it's headed to the end, or if Woods did something so nefarious and dastardly to Kofi, it just would not make any sense for Big E not to show up. I'm not saying to get physical, but just to show up and involve himself in some way, even if it was a backstage segment. But that's the date to keep in mind. We're looking, I think, at the end of November. We're not looking at, next week's show or anything like that. But yeah, 10 years. 10 years of the New Day. Nick, that would get great heat. He says Woods should hit Big E. If he could be cleared for a simple bump, you want to put heat on Xavier Woods, that's what I would do. I'd have him lay his hands on Big E. Sami Zayn was out to the ring as they aired footage from Crown Jewel, the Bloodline match. And Sami inadvertently hitting a haluva kick to Roman Reigns. Or did he? Cole and Graves on commentary were questioning whether it was intentional or not. Sami spoke to the fans in Arabic, got a big reaction. He talked about how proud he was to be able to speak to his people in their language on WWE television. But that's not why he was out here. He wanted to address what happened at Crown Jewel. Jey Uso interrupted, did not come out of the crowd. He made his way down to the ring via the stage. Jey thanked Sami for having his back at Crown Jewel, and he said that he watched the footage of Zayn kicking Reigns in the face, and he just wanted to know if it was an accident. That's all he wanted to know, and Sami looked very surprised by the question. So before he could answer, Jimmy Uso makes his entrance, and he did not look pleased. Jimmy asked Jey what was wrong with him. What's wrong with you? Said that Jey saw the same footage that he did. It was clear that Sami kicked Roman in the face on purpose. Jimmy said that he and Roman are pissed. Jey should be pissed also because Sami cannot be trusted. So Sami spoke up, and he said that Jimmy should probably be reminded of his own track record. Jimmy is the one who welcomed him into the family first and was his brother But as soon as things started going badly, it was Jimmy who kicked him in the face. And then Jimmy kicked Roman in the face later on when things got bad between them. And then as soon as Jay had his own opportunity, what did Jimmy do? He kicked Jay in the face. So Jimmy said he didn't know Sami Zayn an explanation. He wasn't the bad guy here. Sami said Jimmy may not believe it, but he doesn't hate him. Said he doesn't hate Jimmy. Doesn't think he's a bad guy. Never has. Sami said Jimmy makes bad decisions. He's not a bad guy, but he makes bad decisions. He said he only came out at Crown Jewel to make sure that Jay was okay. He didn't care about Jimmy. He didn't care about Roman. He came out to make sure that his boy was okay. Because remember, they wrapped the chair around Jay's neck. They were going to break his neck. So that's why he came out. But Sami said, I got to admit, standing alongside you and Jay and Roman felt like old times. He said it felt special. For 1 minute, it felt pretty damn good. But that's how long it lasted, just 1 minute. And it fell apart just like it always did with the four of them. Sami said he would probably be... He said he's already been put on trial once before. And he's not going to go through this again. He told Jay, look, I love you, but I can't do this again. He said, I'm out. And with that, he exited the ring. So Jay says, look, tries to get his attention. He says, come to SmackDown. Come to SmackDown so we could all talk this out like family. Jimmy said that Sami wasn't family. And Jay said that Sami, he's not blood related, but he goes, I was wrong when I made that comment. Remember he made that comment to Sami? He says, you're not family. He goes, I made a mistake. He says, Sami is family. And Jay called him Sami Uso, which the crowd was chanting as well. And he said that he hoped to see him on SmackDown. So they didn't resolve anything here in this segment at all. I mean, nothing at all was really settled. There was no big development or anything like that. No physicality. They just used it as a way to get you to tune into SmackDown on Friday. This was basically a commercial for SmackDown this Friday because Roman wasn't there on the show tonight. Everything is built around Roman. Nothing can be resolved in the absence of Roman Reigns. He's the king here, right? So because of that alone, you knew that nothing major was going to really happen or be resolved here on Raw. If anything, it would be on SmackDown. So it honestly felt like a waste of time. I thought the segment was fine. I mean, I thought Sami did a good job with it. As Bloodline segments go, though, the way I would describe it, it was sort of the Bloodline version of this could have been an email. Because really, when you think back to the segment, what was accomplished here? Right? All it was Jay saying, hey, you know what? Let's do this again. But why don't we wait until the other guy's here? It's like, okay. Not much to it. Sami did a good job with it, but not a whole lot else to say about it. But, look, I mean, we have a few weeks left to go until Survivor Series. And so they have to play out this family drama and they have to do more segments like this before we get to that point where they're all on the same page. It's episodic television. Some episodes are better than others. I hope what they do on Friday is better than what they gave us tonight. But this is how the story gets told. You give it all away now, what do you do for the next 3 weeks? Right? You got to keep it interesting in some way. It's like what they did last week when we saw Sami interacting with Solo Sikoa outside the building. What are they talking about? Who approached who? And things played out the way they did at Crown Jewel. Now we got to get all four of these guys together in the ring at the same time. We got to get Roman and Sami face to face. It may not even be resolved on Friday. And if it is resolved, then again, they're going to have to take this in some other direction because we still have a ways to go, right? War Games hasn't even been announced as far as Bloodline against Bloodline, right? How do we get to that point? How do you fill in these gaps? Is the Wise Man going to come back before then? Right? Because he's the last one that we haven't seen. Jimmy's back. Sami's back in the picture now. What about Heyman? Is Heyman going to come back and swerve everybody like he did at Survivor Series that one year when he turned on Brock Lesnar and he went with Big Show? Is he going to end up siding with Solo's crew? I mean, I don't know. I don't think so, but Can't rule it out. Anything's possible. Then we had a match here that I was not expecting. Well, I don't want to say I wasn't expecting it to be good given the talent involved, but this turned out to be very good. It was Chad Gable one-on-one with Dragon Lee. You know, Sheamus was not even out there yet for the main event, and these two went out there and had a banger. They beat him to it. One big spot, maybe the biggest spot of the entire match, had Gable giving him an overhead throw. They were on the apron. And Dragon Lee came charging in, and he gave this fucking guy an overhead throw, and he launched him. And Dragon Lee took a hell of a bump, a hard bump, all the way down to the floor outside. A little bit later on, Lee hit a German suplex. Gable no-sold it, hit a German of his own. Lee no-sold that, and then they traded counters until Gable hit consecutive Germans. Dragon Lee came back with a Liger bomb for a 2 count. Gable suplexed Lee off the top and hit a cliffhanger DDT. Gable tried to cover with his feet on the ropes. Zelina Vega was out there, so she knocked the feet off the ropes. Ivy Nile was out there. She comes around. She ends up locking Zelina in a Dragon Sleeper. So Rey Mysterio sees this. He's not out there, but now here he comes. He's coming all the way down to the ring to check on Zelina. Gable tried to attack him, but Lee hit his Operation Dragon finish, which is a Destino, and he pinned him to win the match. Chad Gable cannot buy a win to save his life, and I'm kind of over it at this point. Yeah, I've advocated for him before. It is what it is. He's in the spot that he's in. It's very clear that that's not going to change. But if we can at least get more matches like this out of him on the weekly television show, that would be nice. We don't always get the chance to see him go out there and have a match like this on TV. It'd be nice if he won a match like this every now and then, but at least we got a really good match out of it. And look, we still have to get Gable and Mysterio. You saw Rey get involved here. It led directly into the finish. So we're going to get Chad Gable and Rey Mysterio. Maybe he'll pick up a win there. I just don't see the purpose of having Chad Gable go out there and lose to both members of the LWO. Okay, he lost to Dragon Lee here. And honestly, between Rey and Dragon Lee is the one who you would want to put over. Dragon Lee is the one who Rey Mysterio has said could be the next Rey Mysterio, right? He's the one who you should want to push. Rey can afford to absorb a loss. It's not going to kill him. So I could see Gable getting the win there, getting a win over Mysterio when they have their match. But you got to give something to American Made at some point. I know Gable is mostly going to go out there and continue to lose matches. It's not going to change. Like I said, I'm not expecting him to go on some big win streak. I mean, people look at him and think, oh, he could be a machine like Kurt Angle was. And, you can give American Made this big push like Team Angle had a big push back in the day. You could. The talent is there for it. It's not going to happen, though. It's just not going to happen. But Gable and Mysterio should be very good. That'll be a TV match. I don't know if it'll be next week or the week after. Could be next week. But man, you just keep beating American Made. If you don't give them a win here and there, it just would mean more. So you gotta slip a win in there every now and then at least. If you just beat them like a drum over and over and don't give them anything, then they have nothing to give. There's no value there. There's no point. Every now and then, there's got to be a win. There's got to be something in the win column for whether it's the Creed brothers or whether it's Gable. Hopefully, Gable will get that win over Rey Mysterio. Jackie Redmond was in the back to interview the World Heavyweight Champion Gunther, who was with Ludwig Kaiser, talking to him about his loss to Cody Rhodes at Crown Jewel. Kaiser interrupted, and he took exception to her even asking such a question. He started talking about Cody. He got lucky. And he got cut off by Gunther. And Gunther said that, look, Cody did not get lucky. And Cody was not undeserving. That night, Cody was simply the better man. Now, while he was saying this, I was watching Kaiser's face. It was very interesting watching the expression change on his face. He did not seem happy about it. which could be something to watch. You know, if we start to see more examples of him second guessing things that Gunther is saying to him, or getting upset about things that Gunther may say if he really starts to get on him, that's something to keep an eye out for. Jackie then asked about tonight's number one contenders four-way match. Gunther called, that there's 4 people in the match. He called them 3 very capable competitors and Dominik. Says Rollins' ability speaks for itself. Priest represented another difficult challenge for him. There was also Sheamus, who Kaiser was supposed to take care of, and he stared down Kaiser when he said this. Gunther said that he was still the champion, and after losing on Saturday, it was on him to do better. He looked at Kaiser and he said they both needed to do better. And he walked off by himself, and he left Kaiser behind to ponder things. I said this during my Crown Jewel review. Gunther is unlike any other top heel, top heel champion that you would ordinarily see in WWE over the years. Certainly under Vince McMahon. A lot of the heels are typically chicken shit heels, very cowardly. They run away, they cheat, they get their friends to, interfere on their behalf. And Gunther had friends, he has Kaiser, he used to have Giovanni Vinci. Remember him? Remember that guy? Yeah. So he has friends, and I can only think of one time. It was a Raw match against Sheamus. One time where Kaiser, actively interfered on Gunther's behalf. You don't see it. You don't see him taking shortcuts and cheating and begging off. He stands his ground. He really is a final boss, but he's a heel. He's a bad guy. And so watching him on Saturday lose to Cody, and he's pounding the mat in frustration, and he doesn't attack Cody. Kaiser doesn't come out. They don't double team him. He gets up in Cody's face. He kind of points his finger at him, and he's saying something to him, and he shakes his hand. He pays respect to the man. Then he comes out here on the show, and he says, look, I got beat. The better man won. Cody didn't get lucky. I wasn't distracted. He didn't make any excuses. It's refreshing because I'm not used to seeing a top heel say these things and act like that in WWE. It's nice. It's what sets him apart from so many people that have played that part before, been a top heel champion in this company. That's what separates him from so many other people that came before him. And it's just a unique part of his presentation that I appreciate. And also, I think it's a sign that one day he's got it in him. He's got it in him to be a great babyface too. Not yet. There's time way down the road in the future for that. But there's going to be a great babyface in this man one day. You wait and see. The main event had Seth Rollins, Damian Priest, Sheamus, and Dominik Mysterio in a fatal 4-way number one contenders match for the World Heavyweight Championship. And I saw some comments about this, so I wanted to address this. Dominik, if you saw the show last week, he earned his way into this by beating Damian Priest. And I think people, because when he lost here, I already got some comments like under the Twitter poll and other places like, oh, what happened to Dominik getting his shot and what a waste and all this. And I think people just completely misread and misunderstood last week's show. When he initially went to Adam Pearce and asked about getting a World Heavyweight Championship match, Pearce laughed in his face, which is the normal reaction anybody would have to the idea of Dominik Mysterio challenging for the World Championship. And he said, well, I'll tell you what I'll do. The match with Priest came about because he told him, if you could beat a former World Heavyweight Champion, I would consider it. I will include you in the conversation for a possible shot at the World Heavyweight Championship. And then he went in there and he won, right? Now, it was a bullshit fluky win, but he still won. That did not mean he became number one contender. I think some people actually thought that made him number one contender. That was not a number one contenders match. That was a match where it's like, if you could win this match, I'll consider you in the mix. And he was. He included him here in the four-way match, but that's all that was. So this wasn't a case of, WWE forgetting their own stipulation or going back on their word. Again, I think some people kind of got their lines crossed on that. So the baby faces, they all went after Dominik at ringside. Dom ended up on the apron. Sheamus snuck up behind him and gave him the 10 beats. Rollins hit Sheamus and Priest both with a suicide dive. That took us into our first of two commercial breaks here on this show. Dom was actually in control when they came back. He hit Priest with a tornado DDT. Sheamus doled out some backbreakers to all three men. The crowd chanted for Sheamus. He sounded like the heavy favorite. Not to say that Priest and Rollins weren't cheered, but Sheamus was clearly the fan favorite here. Hit Dominik with a diving knee drop. They went to a second commercial break. After that, Sheamus and Priest exchanged some strikes until Sheamus hit white noise. Dom set up Sheamus for a 619, but he got caught with a power slam. Sheamus went for a brogue kick, and Rollins knocked him out of the ring with a knee strike. Rollins gave Dom a pedigree. He did not go for the cover. Instead, he opted to set up for a curb stomp, but before he could hit the stomp, his attention was diverted. There was a monster outside the ring. It was Bronson Reed, the man he beat at Crown Jewel. Bronson Reed is outside the ring, and Bronson Reed goes after Sheamus and Damian Priest. Rollins sees this. He goes out after Reed. Reed, though, ends up clotheslining him, and he clears off the announce desk. Priest and Sheamus now, they attack Reed, and he rolls into the ring to try to get away from them. So now he's in the ring with them. He fights them both off with Death Valley drivers. Reed goes up to the top, and he hits a tsunami splash to Damian Priest. Gets up, he goes up top in the other corner, and he hits a tsunami splash to Sheamus. The camera cuts to a shot of Dominik Mysterio, and Dom is outside the ring, and he's kind of peeking his head up over the ring apron and just watching. He's lying in wait, and he's watching all of this play out. So now these two men, these two baby faces in the ring have been squashed.
Everyone, it's Samoa BRO.
They've been squashed by Bronson Reed. Reed leaves the ring. He puts Rollins through the announce table with a tsunami off the barricade. So total destruction here from Bronson Reed. Dom waits until Reed leaves to take advantage of the situation. He hits Sheamus with a frog splash, and he has him pinned. Priest is just laying there, but he kind of rolls over, and he breaks up the pin at the very last second. That was a good near fall, because that was a convincing near fall. So if you didn't read the spoilers, if you didn't know who was going over, I think that you would look at that and think, oh shit, Dominik might actually sneak out, the win here. But Priest broke up the fall at the last second. Dominik gave Priest a 619. He went for a frog splash, but as he came off, Priest caught him by the throat, immediately lifted him back up into the air for a South of Heaven chokeslam, and he covered him for the win. So Damian Priest is now the number one contender for the World Heavyweight Championship. I'm not going to lie. I kind of wanted to see Gunther maul Dominik. So I was a little bit disappointed that we didn't have Dominik go over. You get a TV main event out of it and just have him just kill the kid on TV. I mean, look, maybe we'll get it one day. After the match, Gunther got into the ring, and we got a face-to-face stare down between him and Damian Priest. Michael Cole said that Priest will get his rematch somewhere down the road without specifying when or where that might be. I see the rumors going around about Saturday night's main event. It feels too early to set up a Saturday night's main event match in mid-December now. I mean, if they're going to wrestle on that show, that's probably going to be the rematch of the rematch, right? Because we've already seen this once before with these two guys. So this is either setting up, in my mind, a TV main event or a match for Survivor Series. I just can't imagine that they're just going to hold off on Damian Priest getting a title shot until December 14th or whatever the date is of that show. Now, the main event I thought was very good. The Gable match with Dragon Lee, very good, also worth checking out. The Bloodline segment was fine. I mean, again, it was kind of a waste of time. It was nothing terribly exciting. And that's about it. Not bad for a tape show. If that was all that there was to it on a 3-hour show, that'd be a thumbs down. I'm sorry. But Raw's 2 hours, and so we got two really good matches. Again, we had the Bloodline segment. I didn't care for the women's battle royal. Just if that was a men's battle royal, I would have felt the same way. It has nothing to do with the fact that you had women in there who are, for the most part, not over. I just didn't think the match was terribly interesting. But there was enough on this show, I thought, that for a tape show, it wasn't bad. On the whole, I'd call it a pretty average episode of Raw. They'll be live again next week, and we'll see if we get any of these title matches on TV or if they're going to save them for a big show. Again, it was kind of weird how they just didn't specify for the men's or the women's. They didn't specify for any of them, when they're going to be taking place. What did you guys think of Raw from Saudi Arabia? The very first episode of Raw ever from Saudi. 68.3% thumbs up, 31.7% thumbs down. At Solomonster is where you can go ahead and vote, as you well know. Always the place. Place never changes. At Solomonster. That's where all the polls go. See, we could be economical here with these tape shows. When there's not a whole lot going on, it's a lot easier and a lot quicker to get through. Now you're all caught up. Hey, Noel Mulligan became a channel member. And hey, Quentin, thank you for the kind words. Says, congrats on the 17 years, brother. Thank you, Quentin. It's been a long 17 years. Long 17 years. I've seen a lot of good wrestling. I've seen a lot of bad wrestling in those 17 years. I know you've seen a lot of the same things with me. The Real CS wants to know, with a $5 super chat here, do you think WWE will ever run the Tokyo Dome? I do. And I saw, it's so sad. I saw the story from earlier today. I'm sure you're all well aware of it by now, but if not, basically what happened is somebody put together a graphic that was advertising Backlash for next year coming to the Tokyo Dome. Even though I think on the bottom of the graphic it had a logo for a different arena in Japan. But it was promoting Backlash 2025 coming to the Tokyo Dome. And Dave Meltzer posted a tweet saying Backlash 2025 is coming to the Tokyo Dome. Right? That's how most people got that information in the first place, because he tweeted it. So people start freaking out. Oh, is this true? This is crazy, right? So then Dave, who I think has since taken the tweet down, but the internet never forgets. He then posted another tweet saying that it may have been fake. Then he checked with WWE and he tweeted again and said, just confirmed with WWE that the graphic is indeed fake. Yes, but you are the one who tweeted about it without verifying it first. I don't understand. How does that happen? Why does this keep happening? I just talked about Meltzer a few weeks ago. I mean, it's just, he's been doing this for so long. And he's done a lot of good work over the years and a lot of great historical pieces and everything, but it's just one example after another. And it's not even just getting stuff wrong. It's not verifying stuff that should be easily verifiable. It should be like the number one thing that somebody in his position does. And he just doesn't do it. I did a whole segment on this, and I was reading off examples of all the different incidents and saying this person's dead when they're really alive, and then the stuff with The Rock and the Triple H segment that he thought just aired this year when it was a segment from 10 years ago. Like, are you kidding me? But I just love how he tweeted about it as if it's like a rumor killer. I just want to confirm that this is really not true. Yes, but you're the one who spread the rumor. It originated with you. Oh, my God. Oh, so yes, Backlash is not coming to the Tokyo Dome. WWE is not coming to the Tokyo Dome anytime soon, but do I think it'll be there one day? I'm going to say yeah. I think one day they will be. And I'm going to say that if they are, it's going to be for a show bigger than Backlash. Not that Backlash has not been in international locations before, but I think the Tokyo Dome, you could do a little bit better than Backlash. The Winston Slip. Why do some four-way matches have tags and others don't? Because wrestling promotions don't always follow their own rules. It's whatever's convenient for them. It's called creative license. Jerome Eugenio with the 5. Even in a different country, Chad Gable cannot get a win. You could have Chad Gable wrestle a fucking match on the moon and he would still lose. It doesn't matter where in the world or the galaxy he wrestles. He will lose. When you keep beating somebody over and over and over and over again, you just get to that point where nobody takes them seriously anymore. They could still go out there and have a great match, but nobody takes them seriously anymore. They've had plenty of opportunity. You can't say they haven't had opportunities with Chad Gable. They just don't take advantage of them. Sidro is with us. What's going on, Sidro? Now we're caught up here on screen. Sidro says, a pun has not completely matured until it is fully grown. Oh, this is still one of the early ones. Well, he spelled grown because you can't see it. He spelled grown Groan. Very good. Also, I just saw a car being driven by a sheep in a swimsuit. It was a lamb bikini. Oh, son of a bitch. A lamb bikini. So bad. So fucking bad. You suck. And he says, me. Is this bird cage made out of nickel? Pet store. Aluminum. Me. So there is no nickel in this cage. It's a Nicholas cage. You suck. But he continues. P. Diddy. See you later, alligator. Gator. At your trial, pedophile. Also, during my prostate exam, I asked the doctor where I can put my pants. Over there, besides mine, was not the answer I was expecting. Yeah, imagine my surprise when that happened to me once, but we won't get into that. Hey, Sidro, thank you for the $12. Thank you for the 22, if you add them up. 22. Thank you, Sidro. Sidro is a man of many laughs here. You made Tomas. You made him or Thomas. I'm sorry. You made Thomas smirk. Thomas is a hard one to crack, and you made him smirk. So mission accomplished. Bobby's World 2110. The $50 super chat says, "Hey brother, you talked about the Alexa imposter scam on the podcast. Where I work, we had an older man scammed into sending money to the FBI, quote unquote, via Apple gift cards. No one, including police and family, could convince him that it was a scam. It was a sad situation." It is a sad situation. There's a lot of people, and again, they prey on older people. And it's really disgusting. And they just wipe them out. They just, these people are living off of their savings, whatever savings they have, or they're living off of Social Security, and they just wipe them out. And then it's on to the next. And this happens every single day. And it's really pathetic. It's really sad. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Hey, Pisco, you've been buried by Triple H. Look at that. William Valencia with a $20 super chat. Yeah, who would send the FBI money? You, Deputy Dog, you would be surprised. Congrats, Solo, on 17 years. Been with you for about 10 of those years. The Wyatt 6 segment with Miz and Bo gave me Dark Knight Joker vibes. Here's to another 17 years. Well, brother, that was no Dark Knight. It might have given you vibes, but I'll tell you what, man, that was no Dark Knight segment. Let's not be sullying the good name of the greatest movie ever made. Or one of them. It's my favorite movie. Temjin Zephyr with 32. Hey Solo, have you ever heard of the YouTube channel Dead Meat? Oh, focuses on horror movies, including counts and facts regarding horror movies. Also, the host James is a wrestling fan as well, similar to you. No, I have not. I've not heard of Dead Meat. But that sounds like a channel I should probably be checking out. I probably would enjoy it. You tell me this after Halloween. Manuel Macias, do any wrestlers have you blocked? Oh, tons. What, are you kidding me? Tons of them, of course. Shawn Michaels has had me blocked for years. Baron Corbin has me blocked. Swerve has me blocked. I don't even know why. I have no idea. God, who else? Dax. Again, what have I said about Dax?
I love you, Solo. You are my tribal chief.
Yeah, some of these wrestlers are just fucking weird. I think R-Truth has me blocked. Probably a bunch of other ones I don't even know. I don't follow them all, but yeah, it's like a badge of honor. Couldn't tell you why, but it doesn't bother me. I don't lose any sleep over it. Corbin might need me now. Yeah, I think Corbin might need me now. He might want to unblock me. That might be a good idea. Sidro, wanted to be a monk, but I never got the chance. Boy, you are just full of them tonight, aren't you? Does Montez Ford still have me? Oh yes, Montez Ford has me blocked as well. Yes. They use block bots. Sounds like a TV show, like battle bots. I don't know what they use, but some of them have had the blocks on for like years, so I have no idea. Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's like, was it something that was said years ago? If so, what? Like, I think of someone like Montez Ford, it's like, I have no idea. I've always been very complimentary of him, but who the hell knows? I don't waste my time thinking about it. Yes, Ryback as well. Well, you know, that one was so devastating. I'm still trying to get over that. I'm in therapy for that. Yeah, I'm JBL too, but JBL has everybody blocked. If JBL's mother was on Twitter, he'd have her blocked too. Manuel says, how is WWE going to balance the rosters with the Netflix deal? Since they want Roman and Cody, I think they need to end the split. They never follow it. What split? What split? They go back and forth every week. There's no split. It's a soft split. They have two general managers who have their own rosters, but they basically can just mix and match and do whatever they want. I don't even talk about it anymore. There's no sense in even saying anything about it anymore because it's just the way they do things. So I don't really even give a shit anymore. But I mean, as far as the Netflix deal, that was one report out today that, you know, Netflix had wanted Roman, Cody, and Punk all on the same show. Just because they want that doesn't mean they're going to get it. They already have Punk, and they already have, well, let's see, Drew. I don't know what's going to be with Drew. Cody and Roman, I could see Cody and Roman ending up on different shows. I'm kind of surprised that, honestly, they're on the same show right now. So yeah, I mean, they're going to have to figure it out. It might not be a case where anybody gets drafted. It could just be a case where they just start making appearances on Raw. Like, I would expect Roman and Cody and Punk and everybody. I think it's going to be all hands on deck on January 6th when they do that first Netflix Raw. What happens after that, I don't know, but I think everybody is going to be on that first show. Devin from NJ. Buy, rent, and sell. Canadian crowds, British crowds, or Saudi crowds? Canadian crowds are pretty great. The British crowds, though, they give them a run for their money. Boy, the Brits are going to hate me. I'm going to go Canadian crowds, British crowds, and Saudi crowds in that order. But the Canadian crowds and the British crowds, they're neck and neck for me. Nick Grasso. After tonight, I can see them doing War Games with Liv, Raquel, Piper, and Chelsea because Survivor Series is in her hometown against Io, Kyrie, Jade, and Bianca. Yeah, that's... fucking boring. I could see it, I guess, but yeah. Does that really need to be War Games? It doesn't. Just do a traditional Survivor Series elimination match. Does that need to be War Games? Come on. Jarrett Rodriguez. I was having a talk with my dad about old music and I brought up Hall and Oates. He told me that they had beef with each other. I've heard you mention how you're a big fan, so do you know what it's about? Yeah, it's sad because they are no longer working together or touring together, and I think it was Hall, Daryl Hall, who filed suit against him. Basically, Oates tried to sell his half of like the catalog, I think, and Hall didn't like that and said that it was something he wasn't able to do. I don't remember all the minutia of the lawsuit, but it was a business thing, and they're just not on good terms with each other. You know, it's sad, but basically it's like they had a divorce. You know, when mom and dad divorce, right? Everyone's all sad. So it's sad. Anis with the $9.99. Hey Solo, what are your thoughts? Roman should have returned after The Rock became champion and the leader of the new Bloodline, making Roman's return much grander and his ultimate win over The Rock epic. After The Rock became champion? So you're implying The Rock should have become the champion? No. There's no need for that. I've said it before. This story is about family. It's not about championships. Rock can walk around. Rock's already got his Brahma Bull belt. He doesn't need another belt. He's the people's champion. This is not about titles. It's about family. The Bloodline already sucks up so much oxygen on these shows. I don't need the championship. I assume you're talking about the WWE title. I don't need the WWE title on The Rock. I don't need it back on Roman Reigns. Guess what? He had it already for 3.5 years. I don't need to see it again. It's not about championships. You want to do Rock and Roman? I don't even know if they want to. They haven't even hinted at it. But if and when that time comes, it's bigger than titles. It's an attraction all on its own. You get a big attraction and a championship match out of it. You don't need to lump them all together. Jarrett says, how come there's no managers in WWE anymore outside of Heyman and Scarlett? I feel like a lot of the foreign talent, i.e. Damage Control, Julia, Andrade, would benefit from a mouthpiece. You're not wrong. You're absolutely right. It's a lost art. It was a lost art for a while, then they kind of brought it back, and now it's just kind of like, yeah, there's no truly great managers. I mean, AEW does a better job of at least trying to feature managers. Even the ones they have, they don't always do a great job of featuring them. Look at Jake. Jake and LFI. How's that going? But at least in AEW, like, say what you want about Don Callis, you know, the guy gets heat, you know, and he's got his own family. It's like Bobby Heenan had the Heenan family and Callis has the Callis family. So you've got Callis, and they had Jose the assistant there for a while until he left. I mean, they've got so many different factions in that company. You know, but at one point they had Arn Anderson and they had Tully Blanchard, and WWE, they've got Paul Ellering, who doesn't do anything. You know, it's funny you mentioned Scarlett. They don't have a lot of managers, and two of the managers are in the same fucking faction. Like, what is the purpose of having Paul Ellering and Scarlett in the same faction when they don't do anything, they don't get featured? It's just a complete waste. Total waste. Brandon Proctor. Channel member for 31 months. Brother Solo, a couple of questions. When do you think we get Breaker Fatu? And who do you see beating Gunther for the championship? I can see John Cena taking the title if they want to give him 17. As far as Breaker and Fatu, that's not going to happen for another couple of years. I mean, that's like a long-term direction. Maybe like 2026. Nick Grosso also wanted to ask you if you saw Cross's reaction to Miz's kidnapping last week. So funny. Scarlett, he got taken 20 minutes ago. Cross, oh, he's dead. LOL. Need to see more of his personality on TV. Dude, I've been saying that for the longest time. You know, there's a disconnect between the character that we see on TV with him and then his actual personality when you see him in like YouTube videos and stuff. And if he could just tap into that more and they could feature that more on television, I think he would get over. But you don't really get to see that. Him and Scarlett together, when they're like allowed to be themselves, can actually be very entertaining. Quentin, again, thank you, Quentin, for the congratulations on 17 years. I appreciate it. Scott Woodford, what's going on, Scott? Channel member for 43 months. Hello, my friends. I think Dave is going crazy. Something's going on with Dave. And it's not good. You know what? You know why it really aggravates the shit out of me? Because you have people like Pritchard and Bischoff who, you know, I mean, they're little snakes themselves, and they lie about so many different things. They're so fucking full of shit on so many things. And they have made it a business, basically, to just shit on everything Dave Meltzer says. And Meltzer has given them so much ammunition just in the last year alone that, you know, he can power that with, you know, that whole element of their grift or whatever. Like, he's given them so many examples they could point to, and you can't even say they're wrong. But like, they've said shit about Dave before, like in years past, that in some cases were not true, or they said it out of frustration because he spoiled something, or he said something they didn't like, and so Dave's a bad guy. Dave doesn't know what he's talking about. But now it's like, all they need to do is be like, see, I've been telling you this entire time that Dave doesn't know what he's talking about. And you can't even say anything because, yes, he's had a very bad year. That's what aggravates me. BW with the 10. Liv acting like all cowardly heel champions where they believe they got rid of their enemy, but in the end, their enemy comes back and beats them for their belt. Rhea will be the one that does that. I mean, that's not exactly a hot take. I think we all pretty much see that coming from a mile away. Raf, thank you for the membership renewal. Just got home from Italy. Glad to be able to watch Raw and or WWE and AEW again at a normal time. Quick question: did you hear about Jacob Fatu charity issues? Be well. Yeah, but I don't know. I don't even know why that bubbled up this week. So I think I covered that at the time. That's old news. And yeah, it's a really bad look for him. And I don't know all the details of this latest one. Apparently it's being handled privately, the charity said. So I guess they're in contact, it's being handled, but yeah, that's an old story. That's not like a new story. I remember when it came up at the time, and yeah, not good. Not a good look at all. Eminem says, congrats on 17 years. I could see a women's War Games in an NXT PLE. And if you want to wait until Wednesday, your thoughts on Ricochet attacking Zack Sabre Jr.? Well, I mean, I guess they're setting up a match for Wrestle Dynasty. Is that what they're doing? January 5th? Right, they're doing the Tokyo Dome show on the 4th, and then another Tokyo Dome show on the 5th, which is going to have AEW, I think CMLL talent, Ring of Honor talent, New Japan talent. So I believe it's setting up for a match on the January 5th show. It's going to be a great match. Not a whole lot else to say about it. I think those two are going to go in there and they're going to have a great fucking match. Can't wait to see it. The Juliet, for all those in the US, if you haven't already, go out and vote tomorrow. Also, rest in peace, the great Quincy Jones. Yes, 91 years old. 91 years old, a legendary figure, especially in the music industry. I shared my own little Quincy Jones story on social media earlier today. My one brief meeting with him. I did get to meet him many years ago, and I got to work the floor for a celebrity poker event that he was hosting, which was a very illuminating experience as I stood there. And I'm in the middle. All the tables are around me. Quincy's at one table. There's Brad Garrett over there. There's Montel Williams over there. I hear this laugh in the background. I go, oh God, I know that fucking laugh. I turn around. It's Fran Drescher. Yeah, that fucking laugh. She's there. I forgot some of the other celebrities that were there. It was for charity. I think it was for Cambodia or something, because again, he was very involved in charitable endeavors as well. But I'm just standing there, and I said I've never seen so many Black American Express cards in my entire life in one place. Because when they would want to rebuy, chips or whatever, my job was to go over and, I'd write it down, and they'd be flashing their card around, and I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I'm just there to help. But it was a very interesting experience. But yeah, I mean, I heard that laugh. If you remember The Nanny, I didn't watch the show, but that was a big show at one time. You hear Fran Drescher's laugh, and you know exactly who it is. What is she doing now? Isn't she the president of the Screen Actors Guild or something? I think she's got some position like that now. I don't think she's acting anymore. I think she's just doing that. Daniel Malcolm. You mentioned Gary Capetta a while back. Fun fact, he was my senior year Spanish teacher in high school. A little weird, reeked of cigarettes, but a cool guy. Shout out to Senor Capetta. That is very interesting, actually. See, now I just picture him standing at the front of the classroom when he's giving you a lecture, but he's doing it in his ring announcer voice. That's the image I have in my head now. Retro KOH, smiles is the longest word in the English language. There is a mile between both S's. I did not know that. Thank you. Thank you for the knowledge. Hisco95, is there even going to be a women's war game? There's no obvious match or story at the moment. It would be yet another fumble by Triple H for the women's division. Well, I laid out what I think the War Games match should be. We'll find out if I'm right on Wednesday. I'll be here reviewing NXT on Wednesday, so we'll find out together. Donnie Yasu, happy 17 years solo. Thank you, Donnie. Appreciate that. Sidro. Oh boy. I asked the surgeon if I could administer my own anesthetic. He said, go ahead, knock yourself out. Also, what is the opposite of ladyfingers? Mentos. Okay, that's bad. That's bad. That's bad. Now I'm going to think of Mentos commercials for the rest of the night. I'm going down the YouTube rabbit hole when I'm done here. Now that you mentioned that, I'm going to go back and watch some classic Mentos commercials, which is always sure to get the hair on the back of my neck standing up. Jarrett Rodriguez, also my bad if you already mentioned it, but why is Raquel running from Jade and Bianca? I thought she was supposed to be the muscle that protects Liv. Yeah, they're doing about as good of a job with her as Tony Khan is doing with Camille. It's like they don't know how to book like a strong enforcer female type. Evidently, nobody knows how to do it anymore. If Chyna were around right now, she'd be running into the crowd too. Scott Woodford, dogs can't operate MRI machines, but cats can.
You suck.
Thank you, Scott. Jarrett says Montez blocked you for trashing those Street Profits news recap segments from when they first debuted on the main roster. I don't even remember those segments. Maybe he did. It's possible. Well, who needs him when I have Stone Cold Steve Austin following me? I'll bet you even he doesn't have that. Isaac says, thoughts on WWE coming to Europe in March of 2025. WWE comes to Europe every year. But yes, they're going on this massive European tour in March of next year, so we're going to be getting a lot of taped Raw and SmackDown, or like tape delay. Raw and SmackDown shows, they're going to be all over the place. So, yeah, it's a big tour, and the way they've been selling tickets to these international shows, I'm not surprised they're doing it. Think of the money they're going to make. Think of the prices that they're going to charge for tickets on that tour. And they're doing it for like almost the entire month. They're going to make a fortune. And then they have WrestleMania the following month in Vegas, and they're going to make a fortune on that too. It's going to be a huge windfall for them. Based Beerus. I've never seen The Scorpion King. Was it any good? God, I'm trying to remember what I thought of it. When I only saw it the first time, it was okay. I don't remember thinking it was terrible, but it wasn't great. It was all right. You know what freaked me out? The CGI near the end of the movie when we see like he's like the creature, the scorpion creature. That was kind of freaky. Uffman Entertainment. Oates tried to sell his share of Whole Oates Enterprises to Primary Wave Music without Hall's consent. Primary Wave already owns a significant stake in the Hall & Oates catalog. So there you go. Person who asked before, that's the story. Uffman says, Hall believes that Oates' plan violates their business agreement and is a betrayal of their partnership. Hall also alleges that Oates has become aggressive and adversarial towards him. Oh, okay. Steve, thank you. Steve has corrected me. The CGI that I just mentioned, that was from The Mummy Returns. I got the Mummy Returns and the Scorpion King mixed up. Didn't they come out like within a couple of years of each other? Doesn't matter. Either way, I'm never going to go back and see those movies again, so. Uffman says, this is according to Google. Well, see, you shouldn't have said that because I was so impressed at your knowledge. I thought that you remembered all of that, and now I know that you just took it from Google, and now I'm not even impressed. You should have quit while you were ahead. S. McPhee. Don't know why anyone thought the Bloodline would close Crown Jewel, heavily pushing the title belt only to have Solo stand tall at the end. Ridiculous. Pisco says, in the not likely scenario that Rock can't make it to WrestleMania, who do you see Cody and Roman facing, and what would be your main event for both nights? Cody and Randy Orton. If it's not Cody and Rock, it should be Cody and Randy. As far as Roman Reigns, my fear is it's going to be Roman and Solo. Me personally, Roman Reigns against Jacob Fatu. And we still don't know what Steve Austin is going to be doing. He may not wrestle, but he's going to be there. So what role is he going to play? Is he going to be a referee? An enforcer? Is it just a quick cameo? Assuming he doesn't wrestle. If those were the matches, then I think we're looking at CM Punk and Seth Rollins, possibly for the World Heavyweight. Well, you know what, though? I don't know about Gunther losing, though, before WrestleMania. Punk and Rollins may have a match, and it may not even be for a title. Then you have Gunther. You have John Cena. Who's John Cena going to wrestle? Are they going to go right into Cena going for number 17 and not even wait? If so, which championship does he challenge for? We're all assuming it might be Cena and Gunther. What if it was Cena and Cody? What if Randy Orton beats Cody for the title and John Cena wrestles Randy Orton for the WWE title? They get their WrestleMania match, and at the same time, Cena is going for title number 17. They combine the two, right? Because everybody is thinking, oh, they got to do John Cena against Randy Orton. Could you imagine if it turns out to be a championship match, right? It's very unlikely, but possible. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to go with, and so it's hard for me to say what closes which night. I have to think that John Cena will have a big WrestleMania match that they will want to close one of the nights. I could see Cena closing night one, and then Cody, if he's the champion or in the title picture, maybe closing night two, but then Roman, where does he go? I don't know. I don't know. I would think Cena might get one of the two nights, though. Mr. Team Bring It spent a little over $2,600 for a WrestleMania ticket. Insane. Are you saying that the price of the ticket is insane or that you are insane for paying that? I think it applies in either scenario. Well, I don't know what ticket you got. I would hope it's a really good one, though, because that is pretty fucking crazy. I mean, that's ridiculous. I can never do it. I can never bring myself. I mean, it could be the World Series. We're not even talking just WWE. It could be the World Series, Game 7. Like, I just can't imagine spending that kind of money just on a ticket. You know, God bless the people who are willing to do it. I just can't imagine doing that. Like, they better invite you into the ring to be the fucking guest referee for a match during the show. That better be one of the perks of $2,600. Then you get a backstage pass when the show is over. There better be more to it than just a seat. Are they paying to fly you out there? Is that part of the $2,600? Are they giving you limo service from your hotel to the venue? Bottle service in the limo? We've got Jesus Saves and Creflo Dollar withdraws with a $10 super chat. Have you ever been on the train during Subway Mania? I have not. I've seen the videos. I have not been on the train with them, though. Fran Drescher's the president of SAG-AFTRA. Also, I'll be in Brooklyn tomorrow, so I need deli recommendations. Well, I mean, if you need a deli recommendation, I would, it's Manhattan, but I would recommend Katz's, man. I mean, you can't go wrong with Katz's Deli. It's always one of the recommendations I make to people when they ask me for, like, places to eat. You gotta go to Katz's, man. Mr. Team Bring It, Otis is better than Osprey. You spelled his name wrong, so I don't know who Osprey is. I know you're not talking about Will Ospreay. Base Beerus, fun fact, Eddie Murphy was in Norbit. I have a fun fact for you. Eddie Murphy is also singing in the music video Party All the Time, which is actually a great fucking song. Base Beerus, buy or sell, the Great Khali or Omos? Omos. Grant Hudson, I love the nanny. And Restwell Quincy, a true legend in every sense of the word, truly one of one, the greatest producer ever. I consider myself very fortunate that I even just briefly had the chance to meet him and James Earl Jones, who also passed away recently. You talk about two titans, like two giants in their respective industries, and they both passed away within a relatively short period of time. And I got the chance to meet both of them. It's pretty cool. Base Beerus, is Cody the face of the WWE, or is this his peak? Yes, right now Cody is the face of WWE. Anybody who says he isn't paying attention. Slim Yoshi, thank you for the 10. Happy 17 years, Solo. Also, is there a wrestler in WWE, WCW, AEW, TNA, or any other promotion where they had a stellar year and then had a huge fall from grace the following year? Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of them. I mean, trying to think of the most obvious ones, but yeah, I mean, not everybody is able to maintain their level of popularity from one year to the next. Look at AEW. Look at the kind of bipolar booking that we get from Tony Khan, where sometimes somebody gets pushed and then it's, you know, a situation where they may disappear. Miro, right? Look at Miro. Miro, at one point when he was the TNT champion, he had a good thing going. And after that, it was like, disappeared. Dropped off the face of the earth. What the hell happened? Don't know. Yeah, Wardlow. That's another great example from AEW. Wardlow. Pisco. Did we ever have Cena against Drew? That would be fun. I don't think so. If we did, I don't remember it. If we did, it was so long ago, that was a different Drew McIntyre than the one we have today. Uffman, thank you for the 43 months of membership. He's also very excited to be going to Full Gear. Where is Full Gear? Is it Newark? Is it Newark, New Jersey? Where is Full Gear this year? It is, isn't it? I think it's at the Prudential Center. Thank you, Uffman. Miro losing CJ Perry is the biggest L of his life. It's all right. He still has his video games. Right? Does he still stream on Twitch and play video games? Cena once AA'd Tyler Breeze dressed as Nikki Bella. I didn't need to know that, but now I do. Temjin Zephyr, Fran Drescher's laugh is not as annoying as Liv's chuckle. Yeah, well, yeah, it's kind of grating on the nerves, but she's a heel. I guess that's the point. But it's definitely not more annoying than Fran Drescher's laugh. I don't know that there's anything more annoying than Fran Drescher's laugh. All right, let's see where we are. I have not checked. You see where we are here on the likes. We are currently sitting at 403. Wow, so you guys really pulled it out there at the last second. Thank you for the likes. Again, the likes do help get the video into the recommendations and more visible here to others on YouTube, so that's why I ask you to do it. Not just for my own self-edification here. So keep hitting that thumbs up. And right now, let's be the booker.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to be the booker.
Speaking of the women's world champion, there she is. Liv Morgan. When my aunt laughs, she sounds like a goat. You better hope she's not watching this. All right, we begin with oh no, Be the Booker is over after the Wyatt 6 massacred the roster. I don't believe it. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, the Wyatt 6. The Wyatt 6 ruined Be the Booker. It has finally happened. Don't blame me. Blame them. That's it. It's over. Those are the rules. Those are the rules. Game over. Game over. There's no roster. The Wyatt 6 just eliminated all of them. I think we just turned the Wyatt 6 into the biggest heel. The biggest heels in all of wrestling. This is you don't know what you're going to get in Be the Booker. You never know what you're going to land on. There's always a poison pill buried in there somewhere, and you hope that you never land on it, but one day, there it is. Vince Russo booked this. I just love how that was the first thing that we landed. Like, we couldn't even get one round of it. It was like just boom, that's it. First spin, dead. Unbelievable. Wow. That is the first time we have ever landed on that. Slim Yoshi. To answer Pisco's question, Cena and McIntyre did cross paths in a fatal four-way match in 2019 with Balor and Corbin, but never one-on-one. So there you go. Even that, I have no memory of that. Solomonster screwjob. What are you blaming me for? Gotta blame the Wyatt 6. See, I blame you guys. It's all your fault. If you didn't take so damn long to hit the goal, probably would have worked out a different way. Base Beer says this is like the finger poke of doom. Oh man, is this gonna kill the territory? Well, look, we're gonna have another shot at it on Wednesday. Hopefully, if we hit the goal, we'll try again on Wednesday night. Don't look at me. It's totally random. So here's the plan. Wednesday night, we got a little competition going on between NXT and AEW. And I reserve the right to change my mind, but I would rather focus on one show over the other and not kind of compete with both at the same time. And it's one thing to just watch it as a fan, but I got to take notes and pay attention here to what's going on. So I am looking forward to watching the NXT show. So my plan is to watch NXT. That is the plan right now. NXT is at the ECW Arena on Wednesday. I think it's going to be a fun show. that is what I will be watching. That is what I will be reviewing. That is the next time I will be live with you. If I change my mind, I will let you know, but that is the plan. And then I will cover Dynamite on the podcast next weekend. Friday night, we got SmackDown coming up. We're going to have the Bloodline all together in the ring at the same time, so that should be interesting to see where that story goes. Just a little programming note. No TNT tomorrow night with myself and JD. We're skipping tomorrow, but we'll be back with TNT on his channel next Tuesday, so just be aware of that. No TNT this week. Hey, Big Fat Paulie. Be the booker, screwed, be the booker. Basically, yeah. Pretty much. Pretty much. Boy, the Wyatt Six, man. We just turned them into the biggest heels in wrestling. Do we know how to book a good heel or what? Go check out episode 886 if you missed it. It was a packed episode. Packed. A lot of it is not hitting the YouTube channel, so go check that out. That's up right now for your listening pleasure. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you get your audio podcasts. And again, thank you for all the love for 17 years. It has been it's been a lot of fun. Let's keep it going. Be well. Stay safe. And I'll see you guys back here on Wednesday night for the NXT review. Going hardcore at the ECW Arena. That means we get to review Bully Ray. You better get those Bully the Clown super chats ready for Wednesday night. Pisco says the Solomonster Screwjob, November 5th, 2024. This day will live in infamy. See you guys back here on Wednesday night. Till then, take care, guys.